Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today's video will be my 5,000 mile review of my 2021 GTI. This isn't going to be a full detailed review, but more so what I've experienced owning this car for a few months now. I thought hitting 5,000 would be a good point to document my journey with my GTI. I'll be going over a few things such as the exterior, interior, and driving the car over the last 5,000 miles. As you can see, the car still looks great and I tend to keep it as clean as I can. As you see from this 360 view of the car, it's been holding on great. It's been summer and going into fall, so no harsh winters here just yet. The first thing I want to talk about is the paint protection film, or PPF, and ceramic coating. I still think this was one of the best things I've done to the car as I bought it brand new. I didn't want any rock chips on my bumper or hood, so I had the whole front end wrapped in PPF. The PPF is holding on very well and I'm glad I got it done. Having the ceramic coat covering my whole car makes car washes much easier too. Ceramic coating definitely helps get the road grime off the car a lot easier. As you can see from these clips though, both the PPF and ceramic has done its job. It's keeping my car pretty spotless and rock chip free. If you're ever on the fence about doing this to your car, I would highly recommend it. If you're like me, I like to keep my car as clean as possible at all times. Having this PPF makes me worry much less about driving around. As you can see from the close-up, the bumper and the hood still look very new. That's if you disregard the bugs that are on there currently. But overall, I would say, again, PPF and ceramic is a must-do if you're planning to do that for your car. Even if your car still needs some paint touch-ups, I would still highly recommend getting it done by a professional. I can't love these enough. Full LED lights. I love these full LED lights because they are actually bright while driving at night. If you are still running halogens, you need to get some LEDs or some HID bulbs. I guarantee it will change your life. I just love how these day running lights look. It's probably one of my favorite features of the car. I have no issues with driving at nighttime because these LEDs are pretty bright. Also to mention the turning assist lighting that the GTI has, I think it's a pretty cool feature. Here's a clip with the lights on along with the fog lights. The fog lights are also LED, so that's a plus. I just love how it looks on the GTI. It really completes the front end look. I'd say though that the fog lights are nice to have, but it doesn't make a huge difference. It just adds a little more ambience to when you're driving. So for what it is, I still like it a lot. These wheels has got to be some of the best OEM stock wheels that were ever made. I love how these wheels contrast with the car. Definitely props to Volkswagen for putting on good stock wheels from the start. Not to mention the beautiful brakes. The brakes are very sensitive. With a small touch of the brake, you can already feel the car stopping, and you can feel how nice these brakes are. And not to mention also the red accents on the car. I love the red accents that follow between the brakes and the emblems and logos of the car. I think it just really pops out in this color especially. I'm glad that even the rear brakes are red. It really just completes that sporty feel that the GTI has. It may be a small detail, but I'm glad they included it for the rears also. I've always been a big fan of hatchbacks, and having this car just completes that. Volkswagen's simple design and lines throughout the car just completes that hot hatch look. Now rounding out to the rear end, I think Volkswagen kept it very simple, which I like, with a subtle rear spoiler, LED lights, dual exhaust, and red accents again. Let's talk about the exhaust. I do like how the rear stock exhausts look, but I just wish that it was a lot louder. It's pretty quiet for being a sports car. That's definitely a future upgrade I would like to make. But having the car over 5,000 miles, I have no issues with carbon stains, and I think it still looks pretty good. Overall, the exterior is holding out great. It's only been 5,000 miles, but I'm glad it still looks fairly new. The PPF and ceramic coating is the real deal, keeping the exterior looking clean. I'm hoping that the winter won't be too harsh, but I'll try to keep it as clean as I can. Now let's move on to the interior of the GTI. I believe Volkswagen did a great job with the interior over some of the competition. The materials that they use feel great in the hand and are used all over the interior. There is this nice leather trim that's used throughout the car that also just makes the GTI feel such more high end. One thing I also want to note is how good the doors feel when closing them. The doors feel heavy and they don't sound hollow. This GTI is the SE trim, so you do get the leather seats and the bigger infotainment system. The leather seats feel comfortable, but I probably wouldn't go on a very long road trip with them. The quality feels good and doesn't feel too cheap. I think the cloth seats would have been nice, but I like the classier feel of the leather seats in the car. Overall, you can still see that the accents are used throughout the car, and I just love how it feels. I think Volkswagen just did a great job in keeping that all around so they don't cheap out only on the front or only some parts of the car. My only complaint so far is that my leather chair is already rippling with wrinkles. I feel like it's a lottery system because some other GTI owners don't have as much wrinkles or ripples as me, but it's just something you have to live with having leather chairs, so can't do much about that. The same accents and trims are used on the rear end, which I think is great because I feel like some car companies out there don't really complete the front and the back and kind of leave it separate. So the only thing I wish that they had a little red LED streak back here too, but it doesn't, sadly. But otherwise, usually, I don't have too many people in the back of my rear seat, so as you can see, it looks still fairly new. I think these chairs are pretty comfortable too. Me being 5'11" again, I still have some pretty good legroom and headspace too. So if you do have passengers riding with you, they shouldn't have any issues fitting and feeling comfortable in the back of the GTI too. Just rounding out the front end, I just want to talk about a couple things. I wish that Volkswagen added the digital dash to the GTI. For being the last 7.5 2021 GTI made in the US, I wish they would just tack that on there and it would just really complete that front end. But for what it is, it's also a good throwback for all the analog dashes out there. One day we'll look back and it'll just be a nostalgic feeling. The next highlight has to be the 8-inch infotainment system versus the 6.5 on the S trims. Having the bigger screen, it just makes life so much easier, especially with wireless Apple CarPlay. It's just easier to listen to music and navigate. I do have some issues with it sometimes with not starting or freezing up, but all you have to do is reset it. Not the biggest issue in the world, but it gets kind of annoying. The SE trim does include this huge sunroof that I personally like a lot. I don't have any leaking issues or any sound issues with it, so good luck for me, but let's hope it pans out well for the next few years. But to sum it up, I think Volkswagen did a great job with the materials and quality of the interior. So how does the GTI stack up in performance and being my daily driver? I would have to say it's probably the best and most fun daily driver you can get. I think the power from being stock actually feels really good. The torque is very high, so it just feels fun driving it around town, taking the smallest curves and just making it blast out of the car. The only thing I've done to the car, as you can see in my previous videos, is adding a turbo inlet pipe and adding the intake. I feel like this already helps to wake up the car even more. In the future, I hope to add on some more things to the car just to wake up it even more, and hopefully even a stage 1 tune to just really feel what this engine can do. For being my daily driver, I get about 27 to 31 miles per gallon on freeway and small roads. I actually think that's pretty good for being a turbo car. I use 91 octane on it, but you can use 87 if you like. Overall, I'd just like to say that I'm definitely very impressed by Volkswagen on this car. I had a Mark IV before, so having this Mark 7 just brings back a lot of memories to me, and I just enjoy driving it every day. I enjoy going back into this car and getting on the road just for a cruise or just having it as my daily driver. So if you're ever looking to a GTI, it's definitely a recommendation from me. Well, that's my 5K review, and I appreciate you watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and maybe some suggestions of what you may want to see in the future. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.